Welcome back to Coast View. I really enjoyed that conversation with Glenn East. What they're doing in the Gulfport school system is incredibly innovative, and to have the opportunity to go there and see it for myself, it makes a big difference when you see it for yourself. Universal Studios is the way I describe it. It's truly incredible. Now we're going to shift gears and move over to Lisa Massey, who is the acting CEO of the Mississippi Coast Crime Stoppers. And also we're joined by Colonel Stephen Maxwell, who has been for 25 years with the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics. We're going to talk specifically about National Overdose Awareness Day that's coming up at the end of the month. But before we do that, I want to get a little bit more information about the two of them. So let's start with you, Colonel Stephen Maxwell. 25 years, that's incredible. Where are you from?
So originally I am from Bond, Mississippi in Stone County. I graduated from Stone County High School and started my education after high school at Gulf Coast Community College. I was a student athlete there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I went from there to Langston University in Oklahoma, a student athlete there, came back home and got hired on with NBN and went back to graduate school at the great University of Southern Mississippi.
Excellent. What have been some of the key positions you've had since you've been there?
Well, when I was hired in 1994, I started off as an agent, spent the first 7 years of my career on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, working out of our district office there, and was able to develop and cultivate some relationships with local law enforcement officers there, and transition out of district work into our Special Operations Division. I was there for a little while. Then I transitioned from that into leadership roles as a supervisor, as a group supervisor, from there to a captain, major, lieutenant colonel, deputy director, and now blessed and fortunate to have been appointed as director of our agency by Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves with the support of Commissioner Sean Tyndall.
Yeah, good for you. I have Sean Tyndall's been on the show numerous times, and listen, I bet never in your wildest imagination did you realize or did you think that you would be facing the fentanyl issue and the other issues that you're facing today. It's got to be unbelievable. What we're going to do, actually, you and I are going to come back together and spend a whole show together talking about some of the challenges we face in society today. Today, we're going to be focused very specifically on National Overdose Awareness Day, but I appreciate you joining me today. So let's move over to Laurie for a second. Laurie Massey, who's the acting CEO. Now, I've said before the show started that it says acting, but she's actually been in this capacity for a couple of years. With the Mississippi Coast Crime Stoppers. Tell me a little bit more about your organization, Laurie.
Well, Crime Stoppers is an international organization, and here on the coast we have a very active Crime Stopper program. We cover 7 counties, and we are basically the tool that the public can use to give information to law enforcement that remain anonymous.
Very cool. So where are you from?
I am born and bred Jackson County resident, and very, very proud to be from the coast, and it's a special place, as you know.
Yes, it is a very special place. That's why we have a show called Coast View that can celebrate this incredible place. So, Laurie, on August the 31st, National Overdose Awareness Day, talk to me about the significance of that recognition nationally.
Well, it's sad that we actually have to have an Overdose Awareness Day. Crime Stoppers, we partner with law enforcement. We talk to law enforcement all day long, and we hear about the overdoses on the coast, and we read in the news about the overdoses in Mississippi and nationwide. So we wanted to do something as a nonprofit to assist our public in education. So that is why we worked with Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics recently and made an overdose awareness video. And that was circulated statewide. We have it's on YouTube. It's on, we did a PSA, and we also did a longer. We filmed it in the cemetery in hopes that it would have a greater impact, show that, there's death in the overdoses. And so we're hoping that loved ones, we're really trying to target loved ones of people who are buying drugs, and that they will speak up and say something.
That's so important. And boy, the drugs that people can have access to today are so much more dangerous. Colonel, when you think about the kind of drugs and the way they're being manufactured, and a lot of them being brought into the U.S., I mean, we're talking about some very dangerous drugs. And somebody made the point the other day that it's sad. They're worried about their grandkids who are teenagers. You know, oftentimes someone who would overdose on some of these drugs might be just a first-time trier, or someone who trusts somebody else to take a drug from them. But we're talking about some potent, dangerous stuff that people are having access to these days to, aren't we?
Absolutely. And, as the American culture has evolved, so has its subcultures, being driven by science and technology. And the drugs that we see being sold and used today among those that comprise the drug culture are a whole lot more potent and a whole lot more addictive today than what they were 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Fentanyl has literally changed the game as the drug culture has evolved. It is a drug that it's unique in its properties. It can be pressed, cut, colored, and scored and sold as fake pharmaceutical pills, as well as being used as a lace and a cutting agent for various other drugs. And we tell parents, we tell school administrators, we tell university officials and the public that it's no longer just marijuana. It's no longer just Xanax. It could be marijuana laced with fentanyl, and it could be fentanyl pressed, cut, colored, and scored and sold as Xanax or Adderall or Ritalin or Vyvanse.
Unbelievable. When I think about fentanyl, Colonel, I think immediately poison. That's what I think when I think about it. But what is fentanyl?
So when we talk about fentanyl, we're not talking about pharmaceutical grade fentanyl, that's produced by a pharmaceutical company such as Eli Lilly, Merck, or Pfizer. We're talking about illicit fentanyl. Fentanyl that has been manufactured in a clandestine setting, primarily by the Sinaloa cartel or any other cartel working in Mexico, and they've purchased the precursory chemicals from China, specifically for the purpose of producing illicit fentanyl to be sold here in the United States in various forms, whether it's in a powder form, sold as heroin, or sold as cocaine, or sold as methamphetamine, or pressed, cut, colored, and scored and sold as pills, or used as a lace and a cutting agent, for cocaine or with methamphetamine or with heroin. And 2.5 milligrams of fentanyl is a lethal dose to 95% of the American population.
That's unbelievable. Why is it so scary?
Well, primarily for two reasons. Its addictive propensities and its potential for causing overdose that can result in death. In fact, the CDC says that for the majority of the overdose deaths that have occurred, from 2015 through 2021, fentanyl has been the primary contributing drug. In addition to that, more than 70,000 of the 107 plus drug-related overdose deaths that occurred in 2021 were attributed to and are attributed to fentanyl, which is the same thing that we've seen here in the state of Mississippi for the drug-related overdose deaths in 2019, 2020, and 2021. Fentanyl has been the most prevalent drug contributing to those drug-related overdose deaths.
Hey, coming back to you, Laura, just in the last couple of years, have you seen a sharp increase in the number of calls you get related to dangerous drugs that are out there?
Well, just in the last 5 years, we've received, now this is over a 7-county area, we've received close to 2,000 tips just on drugs that had a drug component to them. So, and after we released our overdose awareness, we've received about maybe 20% more, 15 to 20% more per month. Just today we've received several. And, a lot of them say, this person's selling meth, this person's selling fentanyl.
Wow, that's incredible. Coming back to the video, and I think you sent us a link to this. We may be able to accompany the show this show that we're going to post on social media with that video as well, embedded into the show. We'll check on doing that. If not, we'll certainly put a link to it. But it's touching that, first of all, it's a collaboration between Crime Stoppers and the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, but it's paid for by families who lost loved ones to overdose. That's so sad to think about it in that way. We'll talk a little bit more about that and what you hope to glean from having it spread as widely as possible when we come back and continue our conversation with the acting CEO of the Coast Crime Stoppers, and it was Laurie Massey, and their director of the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, Colonel Stephen Maxwell. See you after this break. Welcome back to Coast View. Very serious subject today, National Overdose Awareness Day that's coming up this month. We have Laurie Massey, who's the acting CEO of the Mississippi Coast Crime Stoppers, with us, and Colonel Stephen Maxwell, who's the director of the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, who's been there about 25 years. And by the way, we're going to circle back with both of these people and have more detailed Coast View sessions about the work that they're doing in so many different realms. But it's sad, as you pointed out, Laurie, that you've got to have a national awareness day focused on overdose. It's sad that we have to think in that regard, but the number of overdoses are skyrocketing in this nation, and you can't turn on the news where you're not seeing some major issues related to this. And again, this video that you guys produced that we'll show for the social media audience is touching, and it's paid for by the family of loved ones, and you produced it in a cemetery, which unfortunately is a fitting reminder to the finality of an overdose. What is your hope as you see this video get distributed in the message? It's a silent video with just the music playing, the various people in the video showing signs with words on them. What is your hope?
Well, the hope is that families will have a conversation with their teenagers, with their even preteens. We had a narcotics agent contact us and say, we have we have two families that just recently lost loved ones to overdoses, and they want to donate some money to Crime Stoppers. And we said, how about we do something to help, the epidemic? So that's how the video was born. So the hope is that it will start a dialogue, and to know that in the video we say that one pill can kill, and so that's what we hope to get through.
Yeah, no, Colonel, I bet it breaks your heart when you see the families that have been destroyed by overdose, and it could be just one bad decision in one moment, and people's lives are changed forever. It's got to be just heartbreaking for you. It is. And,
the thing that really gets us is the perception about the victims of overdose and their families. Every overdose victim is not a drug addict. There are people who try drugs initially for the first time, and they find themselves with something that is potent enough to cause them to overdose, and that overdose results in death. The majority of people that comprise the drug culture are better suited for treatment as opposed to prison. In 2020, SAMHSA released a report on national health and drug use. And in that report, they indicated that in the previous year, 40.3 million Americans were identified as dealing with a substance use disorder, age 12 and older. 40.3 million people. That is a significant number of folks. And, we lost in 2020 529 Mississippians as a result of drug-related overdose death. We lost more than 500 again in 2021. And that's 500 plus too many of our loved ones in the state that we lost to something that is preventable.
Wow, that's incredible. So as this video gets into circulation, what's your hope about it?
Well, we're blessed and fortunate to have partnerships beyond our traditional law enforcement partners as our agency has evolved, working, with Executive Director Massey and Crime Stoppers. We're trying to sound the alarm. Governor Reeves just yesterday signed a proclamation in recognition of International Overdose Day, August 31st. And so, it's not just the Bureau of Narcotics who gets it and that understands the vital importance of this, but even Governor Reeves and Commissioner Sean Tindall, both. This is a priority for the Department of Public Safety as a whole. And so we're hoping that as we continue to sound the alarm, as we continue to ring the bell, that more and more Mississippians will get it, that they will come into the knowledge of the fact that, if you are ingesting and consuming something that you did not obtain by way of a prescription from a physician, you're putting yourself at risk, at jeopardy. And like Laura said, one pill can kill.
Colonel, how many times have you heard someone said to that person who ultimately overdosed, just try this? And they trusted the person they were getting the pill from, and they really had no idea where it was coming from or really what it was. It's just so dangerous to not trust something like that. I mean, again, if it's not your prescription, don't take it because you don't know what is in it. And the cartels don't really care, do they?
No, they don't care. I mean, if you've got potentially 40.3 million customers that's consuming your product and you lose just a little over 100,000, why should you care? Your profit margin hasn't been literally affected at all. So no, they don't care. And to your point, we hear that story repeated over and over and over again, where someone took something from someone and they trusted that person with their lives, and ultimately, in the end, they're no longer with us.
It's a sad reality. August 31st is National Overdose Awareness Day. We're out of time, but we're going to circle back. We're going to come back and spend time with Laurie Massey and with Colonel Stephen Maxwell from the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics to talk deeper about the work that they do just in general, a wide range of stuff. Today was focused on Overdose Awareness Day, but I appreciate you guys spending some time with me this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.